And welcome back to the Crescent City, a city known for its celebration. And this is a football Mardi Gras on this Sunday as Brian Billick brings his Ravens into New Orleans. He now is in the hot seat in terms of calling the plays. It's on his clipboard now. Good friend Jim Fossil released from his duties during the bye week after Baltimore started 4-0 and then lost to Denver 13-3 and Carolina 23-21. And Billick wants to insert more offense into the Ravens attack. We'll see what changes are made as the game progresses. And there's 42-year-old Sean Payton, his 10th year in the NFL, native of the Chicago area where he rooted for the Bulls and Bears during Mike Ditka's 1985 great Super Bowl team. He has a boyish enthusiasm about him that is quite contagious.
Hey, he really does, Dick. And you know what? He's just inspired this whole team, not only as a football team, but also encouraging involvement in the community, and has got everybody focused on how important this football team is to the entire regrowth and rebirth of this entire area.
Yeah, it's a mission for this team to represent the city's rebirth, and that 5-1 record certainly has helped. The Ravens won the toss. We'll get the first chance, and we've got some Baltimore fans here walking through French Quarter yesterday. A lot of purple in evidence. Steve McNair was not had a great start, hoping to improve upon his numbers today.
Well, Dick, he's going to have a lot of noise to deal with. As long as the Saints can keep this crowd in it, it is a living, breathing organism that raises Cain with every offense that has to face it.
John Carney, the veteran of 17 seasons. So is his counterpart, Matt Stover, for Baltimore. Two 17-year kickers, both wearing number 3. He'll get it started, and B.J. Sams will return the kickoff. He's back with Justin Green. Sams, on his 26th birthday, celebrates today. Number 36. Artificial carpet of the Superdome, Carney gets it started with a little squibber that he punches down inside the 30 and taken back by Jarrett Johnson, a defensive linebacker, and a flag down. Well, that's an interesting approach on the opening kickoff.
And it's a little sign of respect, too, for the returners. The Baltimore Ravens, very, very well trained by Frank Gans Jr., and they are a really good return team.
Offside is the signal given against New Orleans.
Outside of the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Jerome Boger. And of course that's marked off to the 39-yard line as Steve McNair breaks huddle. Sends Mark Clayton to the left. And now Derek Mason far left. Of course, a long-standing relationship with Tennessee between McNair and Mason, they think is one. Jamal Lewis breaks through the line of scrimmage and pulls his way to a first down at midfield. McNair's numbers are subpar, 5 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He returns after that concussion suffered 2 weeks ago. Ravens offensive line, perennial All-Pro, Jonathan Ogden, with Brown, Flynn, Vincent, and Pashos. And tight end, Todd Heap, keep your eye on him. He leads the Ravens with 4 touchdown catches.
That running game is the best cure for what ails you if you're Brian Billick and this Ravens offense.
Much of this crowd still on its feet trying to help the defense. First down at the 49. Right back to Lewis. He fumbled the ball. A scramble at the 50, and the New Orleans Saints have recovered. Hollis Thomas, the former Eagle, the nose tackle, drops his 330 pounds on Jamal Lewis's fumble. Not what Billick ordered.
Well, the defense is always about penetration, and a wonderful job of penetrating from the backside knocks that ball loose, and Hollis Thomas, the near side tackle, is there to take advantage of that great penetration by Brian Young.
And so the Saints with a first break. Both these teams have improved in the turnover table, especially New Orleans, after they were very generous in giving up the ball a year ago, and it's Deuce McAllister for a couple of yards into Baltimore territory to the 48-yard line. Drew Brees, off serious shoulder surgery from San Diego to New Orleans, has been all the Saints could ask. Up front, Brown, Nesbitt, Thane, the rookie Evans, and Stinchcomb, a rebuild offensive line. And you just saw Deuce McAllister. He's the Saints' all-time rusher. He'll probably pass the 5,000 mark today, and he is especially tough running here at home. Reggie Bush is hit in the backfield on that little swing pass from Drew Brees. A loss as Dallas Thomas, who seems to be all over the defensive side of the ball, makes that tackle.
Dick, let's take another look at that fumble. It was Will Smith coming from the top right here, working against Daniel Wilcox. Watch him just overpower the backside tight end. I mean, that right there, he blocked like a wide receiver. But Will Smith just took Wilcox, moved him back into the backfield, and that caused the fumble.
And the recovery for the Saints at the 50, but now they look at third and long from their own 46-yard line. Bush in the backfield, and he fumbles the ball, and the Ravens have recovered. So Baltimore and New Orleans trade fumbles, and the Ravens' field position improves to the Saints' 43.
Dick, Bart Scott told us last night the key to this game for them was attacking Reggie Bush. Said he's never seen a defense like us. He's going to get hit when he has the ball. He's going to get hit when he's walking to the sideline. He's going to get hit when he's trying to block. But that was a wonderful job of attacking a defense and taking advantage of a bad handoff between Drew Brees and Reggie Bush.
Jerome Sapp with a contact to jar the ball free, and Chris McAllister recovered for the Ravens. The shotgun. McNair, the quick throw to the sidelines, complete for short yardage to tight end Daniel Wilcox, covered by Scott Fujita. New Orleans Saints defensively, front four features Will Smith, who made that hit, caused the fumble. He's an energizer, 19.5 sacks in his 2.5 years. And the big free agent pickup was Scott Fujita from Dallas. He leads in tackles, interceptions, and forced fumbles, number 55. And the back four unspectacular, but they're solid as a unit. McKenzie, Stoudemire, Bullocks, and Thomas. A gain of a couple on that flare pass, and contact before the snap as Smith charges into the offensive line. Was he drawn offside?
All-star offense on the 88.
Wow. Quinn Sepnewski got launched.
The rookie from Colorado, Sepnewski, flinched, and he took the wrath of Will Smith.
Well, he won't try that one again. He's the second tight end in from the top right here. Woo! That's the price you pay. That is not illegal contact. That is not unnecessary roughness. That's just a young guy paying a lesson in a loud house.
2nd and 13. And McNair has to spend a timeout, and the fans love that. They know they're playing their role. Welcome back to New Orleans. We have a sound decibel meter that will measure the enormous amount of sound created by this 70,000 sellout crowd. And they're at work now on 2nd down and 13 after the Baltimore timeout. Hand off to Lewis. Tries to get outside. Kicks out of one tackle. And then is pushed out of bounds after a couple of yard gain. Omar Stoudemire and Mark Semino collaborating on the tackle. Here's an idea of what loud sound is all about, from a pin drop through a whisper. A night on Bourbon Street can even be louder than 85. A rock concert, the airport runway, and your threshold of pain.
Well, we're somewhere between 747 and ouch.
You mentioned once here that it was so loud you could feel the sound on your arm hair. 3rd and 9. Musa Smith in the backfield, a good receiver, throws over the middle, and it's caught for a first down as Demetrius Williams, the rookie from Oregon, on a slant, picks up enough yards for a first down at the 30. Fred Thomas on the coverage.
This was a draft this year, the 2006 draft, of very underappreciated receivers. Demetrius Williams would be the Ravens version. Marcus Colston would be the Saints version. Big, physical, and fast young receivers coming out of college.
Yeah, Williams a good target at 6'2" and 200. That was his 5th catch of the season. Back to Lewis. Spun around and then stacked after a gain of a couple. And a late flag is tossed.
Well, that's going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct for shoving the back.
Couldn't hear the whistle with all the noise, and so there continued to be contact.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 91, defense. After get to the goal line, automatic, first down.
Will Smith shoves Jason Brown, the left offensive guard, right in the back at the end of the play there as it was dying down. You'll see Will Smith coming in from here. And he's going to shove into the back of number 60 here. Number Brown, just and pop him. And that's just, enthusiasm's one thing, but unnecessarily shoving a guy like that, that's a good call by our officials.
They mark off the penalty down to the 14-yard line. So on the exchange of fumbles, the Ravens now threaten to score first. Lewis with a blocking back, Obi Mahaley in front of him. And it's back to Jamal Lewis. Ooh, is he hit as he storms through the hole, and he was at full speed. Hollis Thomas got a piece of him, and someone came up from the secondary. Might have been Stoutmeyer to throw a good shoulder on him.
Well, Hollis Thomas gets him square in the middle. He gets nothing but pure wood right down the middle of Jamal Lewis. And Hollis Thomas he's one of those guys where you see what he's listed in the program at 306.
No way.
That's a guesstimate. But he brought it all right into Jamal Lewis and knocked him clean off his feet.
He said, I'm really down to about 330 now.
Ish.
Second down and 8. McNair looking for Heap, the tight end. He's covered, throws it into the flat, complete to Mahaley. And for Mahaley, his first catch of the season, covered by Fujita with the yellow on the carpet.
A little illegal contact down the field on Saints D, I think.
Illegal contact, defense, number 34. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Veteran corner Mike McKenzie, the former Packer, gets the penalty. And that'll mark it down to the 7-yard line with the automatic first down. First and goal for Baltimore. And the Ravens this year ranked 25th in touchdown percentage in the red zone. Brian Billick told us, of course you want to score a touchdown, but the key is you want to always score something.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy when you got the defense he's got.
3 points are very big with this defense. Lewis picking his way off the left side and well covered by the entire center of that Saints line.
Well, we've wanted to sort of see what this new play calling rhythm and situation would look like with Brian Billick, as you see his little coach's cheating card he's hiding behind there. But it's not a matter of Baltimore being ultra effective, Dick. Jamal's had a run or two, and they've got that one pass to Demetrius Williams. It's been New Orleans helping them so far.
Vic Fangio is serving as a consultant, as kind of a coach looking at the head coach, Brian Billick, to make sure now that Billick's calling plays that he doesn't miss something. McNair shotgun, second and goal. Throws incomplete and almost deflected for a possible interception or a touchdown catch as Mason was in the area. Remember, Mark Clayton in the last game against Carolina not one but 2 times caught touchdown passes off caroms.
Yeah, it was one of the rare instances you could say that the tip drill was for the offense, and receivers are taught in those situations, do not reach back like that. That causes nothing good usually for the offense to just flick it back with your hand.
So it's third and goal at the 5.
Do they attack or do they sit back? I think this defense will sit back.
Don't forget, McNair likes to run, and he calls the draw and scores. Oh, we've seen that a few times in McNair's 12 years in the NFL. Set it up with 5 men spread wide and then just rumped up the middle for the touchdown.
It was so wide open. Actually, the key person blocking-wise was Mike Flynn, his center. for McNair, and by the time McNair got around to running, there's nobody for Mike Flynn to block. Check this out. Fujita's the first guy he can actually hit, but he's not going to be a factor at all with a double team. That was a great call in the perfect situation.
And the extra point by Matt Stover makes it 7-0 as Steve McNair, who has rushed for almost 3,500 yards in his career, scores his first touchdown as a Raven. Street car down into the French Quarter and enjoy an afternoon of sightseeing and radiating. Matt Stover to kick it off. It's McNair's 37th career rushing touchdown, 43 yards, 8 plays, plus 2 Saints penalties helping out. And the kick comes down to Michael Lewis. He's back in uniform, been on the PUP list, and he's hit at the 20-yard line. Had serious knee injury and just activated for today's game. Lewis, a local favorite. We've got a timeout, 7-0.
Really overmatched and nervous that first series.
Breeze sets up camp at the 20-yard line. That's Joe Horn in motion. Breeze goes deep. Horn can't pull it in at the 50-yard line. He had to twist and come back to the opposite side to try to make that leaping catch.
Boy, Dallas Thomas came in and just boned Drew Brees right at the very end. And those are the kind of plays. You want momentum. You want the offense to start getting going. You have to catch these, because you know your quarterback's going to get hit just as he's throwing those kind of passes, and Joe Horn needs to catch that kind of a pass.
And it's Thomas who comes off the field, and they're working on that left shoulder.
He's got a lot of lifting Drew Brees did since he hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, he's stronger than they thought. He's certainly not taller than the players thought. Doing any reps said, yeah, he is short. But Brees has fun with the fact he's only 6 feet tall, as Mark Campbell, the tight end, has his first catch, and it's good for nearly 5 yards. A look at the Baltimore defense contingent of family watching here in the Superdome this afternoon. Reggie Bush in the shotgun with Brees on second, 3rd and 5. Here comes the blitz. The pass is long and wide open. Marcus Colston, the rookie from Hofstra. Oh, my. He got behind Chris McAllister.
I'm not sure if he got behind him or they just lost him, Dick. Drew Brees saw immediately that he had this. See McAllister bite on that action? That's what beat him. And Marcus Colston, one of the great surprises in the 2006 draft out of Hofstra, one of the leading receivers in this league, makes him pay. That quick little pump made him think he was going to go to the short receiver.
53 yards, Randy, and Colston, who was only 3 picks away from being Mr. Irrelevant at the last round, and what a steal this young man is. He comes into the game with 27 catches and 4 touchdowns. He knows how to get open, and what sweet hands. Timeout, 7-0 Ravens. It's that crescent curve in the Mississippi, after which the city gets its nickname, the Crescent City, and fans here cheering a long 53-yard gain and a first down to the Baltimore 22. Another pump by Brees, and then he flips it to Aaron Stecker in the flat. And Stecker gets a nice gain after catch down to about the 17-yard line. Well, Randy, let's check on your crosstalk.
Well, early on here, we've already seen some of the action, but check it out with the Saints. They've got to get Reggie Bush. He's got to have touches, and obviously from what we've seen, he's got to settle down. The defense needs the crowd to help them. And for Baltimore, just business as usual. And we've seen business as usual from McNair, running a page out of the old Titans playbook with a quarterback draw.
2nd down and 5. Play action. Wide open is the fullback. And Carney, who rarely gets a chance, only his 3rd catch of the season, picks up the first down inside the 10. Mike Carney, 3rd-year fullback from Arizona State.
Watch bite, and bite when Carney comes up. Drew Brees does a nice job of faking that ball to the halfback. Carney comes into the flat wide open. That is excellent play calling by Sean Payton and Doug Marrone, his offensive coordinator, against a defense that's really excelled this year in forcing people to kick field goals.
2nd best in the league to Denver.
Still first down.
Penalty flag thrown for, I believe, an offense against Sean Payton's Saints for too many men in the huddle. So the ball marked back out to the 13-yard line, where it is first down and goal. Ravens have allowed only one touchdown in the opening quarter this season. Bush and Kearney in the backfield behind Breeze, and another flag.
All-star offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Nate Lowry, the tight end from Yale. That's 4 penalties against the Saints here in the first quarter. Make it 5 now, 34 yards total.
Remember early in the open there, I talked about poise in the noise. Well, the poise has been on the Ravens side. Surprisingly, it's been the Saints with a problem with the poise. After their bye, it seems like they've got a little nervous energy and a little too geeked up at the start of this game.
From the 18, it's first and goal. And then Bush is going to throw a pass, and it is intercepted in the end zone. Chris McAllister falls down and takes the touchback. So McAllister, the ball hawk, has his 4th pick of the season. Reggie Bush, who was 3 for 3 for touchdowns at the University of Southern California. And Ray Lewis was back there fighting for the interception as well. Almost knocked it away from McAllister. Who wants team up with CBS for more coverage of sporting events this fall? So they share sacks in this league officially. They don't share interceptions. Lewis gets credit, even though McAllister took it away.
He stole it from him. He stole it from McAllister.
For Ray Lewis, it's his 22nd career interception. That's a lot for a linebacker. McNair hit as he throws. Is the pass good? Yes, that's ruled complete at the 32-yard line. Derek Mason. Can anyone work the sideline better than the veteran from Michigan State, Mason?
Well, if you had any doubts as to the condition of Steve McNair after that concussion and neck sprain last week, that should have answered your question right there. He got the bone laid to him. And Mason does a great job of tattooing the sideline there with his feet. But that is right there. Remember the old sternum injury of Steve McNair? That's how quarterbacks get sternum injuries.
Charles Grant with Will Smith, a pair of defensive ends are hard charging. Well, that looks as if Ogden might have moved too soon for the procedure call. False start.
All-star offense, number 60. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Let's go to JB for an update.
Hey, Dick and Randy, Jacksonville got it done on the ground in this early first quarter action here. 48 yards on the ground, 15 of them there from Fred Taylor. Big hole up the middle. 7-0 Jacksonville over the Eagles in Philly. Back to Dick and Randy.
All right, JB. Taylor is to Jacksonville what Goose McAllister is to the New Orleans Saints. First down to Lewis. And, of course, you could apply that same formula to Jamal Lewis for the Ravens.
You feel kind of the fire and the momentum that's on the defensive side for the New Orleans Saints, especially in their front 7, or it's Bullock filling from that defensive safety position. They're ready to go. They are really fired up on defense. The offensive side seems kind of, there's a lull on the offensive side. Reggie Bush right now looks a little overmatched against this Baltimore defense. I think to a degree maybe these guys are in Reggie's head a little.
Already fumbling and throwing an interception, Bush, and not gaining any positive yardage. On second down, McNair going deep. And he finds Mark Clayton, the second-year receiver from Oklahoma, who has 26 catches now this year. We go back to New York and JB.
All right, Dick, first touchdown of the game in Atlanta at Cincinnati comes by way of Rudy Johnson, 1-yarder here, capping a 10-play, 74-yard drive. Morton Anderson added a 40-yard field goal to narrow the gap to 1. 7-6 Cincy. Dick and Randy.
And there you look at the AFC North with the Bengals and the Ravens at 4-2, and they meet next week in Baltimore. 3 tight ends. First down at the 44. Lewis plows forward after initial contact, gets a couple of yards. Omar Stoutmeyer trying to add Stout to that defensive stop.
Well, he does a great job filling in from the backside. You know, how often do you always concentrate in this game on whoever's coming from that onside and the fact that the linemen or linebackers are stuffing up the run, but that job by Stoutmeyer just closed the back door, because there was a back door there for Lewis.
It's interesting, the comment made by coaches yesterday that, you know, the defense of Baltimore is so outstanding, you wonder how many men on the Saints defense could even start for Baltimore. Not many, but they play well as a team. Here's Lewis. Good running start. Was full charged at the line of scrimmage and picks up close to a first down to the Saints 46. It'll be third and a short 2.
Concentrate right here, Dick, because it's just a matter of forming this crease right there on that right side behind Pashos and Vincent. Good patient running. We talked about patient running with Reggie Bush. That was an example of Jamal Lewis waiting and being patient until that hole could open up.
Well, we're getting a sign of what Billick wants to do with the running game. Keep it more simple, stay inside, get positive yardage. Mike Anderson now is the tailback, the former Bronco. Play action to him, and wide open is Todd Heap, the tight end of the 30, and finally wrestled down by a trio of Saints at the 17-yard line. Josh Bullock's the first to arrive.
Well, when you see Todd Heap on tape, it reminds you how much fun he is to watch as a tight end, because for all the high-tech tight ends we have in the game these days, he's the closest thing to the old style, kind of a Mark Bavaro tight end. But he's the guy that can line up at wide receiver and has the speed to take advantage of defensive backs down the field. He's a great combination and one of the better athletes on this team.
Impressive first quarter for the Ravens. They lead 7-0. We'll return to New Orleans after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. The Cafe Du Monde, and there's still a lot of nice barbecued shrimp at Manali's and Brennan's and the other great restaurants here. Open the second quarter, and Lewis caught in the backfield, somehow gets away and makes something out of nothing to the 14 into the arms of Charles Grant.
Well, that looked like a little bit of old, Lewis, didn't it? Because Jamal Lewis in the past, that's been the kind of run the last few years you've seen and expected out of him when he was running well, is stopping and going and getting the big play. And Brian Billick's main goal in this ball game was to try to get them going running, because they've fallen a long way from that lofty perch of number 1 3 or 4 years ago.
First to 26th, they outrushed New Orleans 34-1 in the opening quarter. On second down, McNair into the flat, complete to Wilcox, and he spins inside the 10. That's going to be close to a first down. They're using him a lot in the passing game. Wilcox from Appalachian State came into this one with 12 catches, complimenting Todd Heap at tight end.
But he's not quite a receiver, and he's not quite a tight end. Was he 6'1", about 235? So he's a little too heavy to be a wide receiver, and we found out earlier against Will Smith he's not quite heavy enough to be a tight end to block a defensive end either, but he's very effective, especially in those underneath route areas for Brian Billick's offense. And so far, the Brian Billick period as coordinator for this Ravens offense has gone quite smoothly.
Scored on that first possession on the 5-yard quarterback draw by McNair. That was a first down, first and goal, and Lewis driving straight into the center of that black jerseyed Saint defense for a couple yards.
Yeah, that run there was kind of the old, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, because that defense wasn't going to let him get that bounce on the outside, and he knew it and had to settle for kind of burrowing into the line.
Lewis, when he came into the league from Tennessee, was 230 pounds, and he ran a 4.38. And Billick, his eyes twinkled when he said he can run over you and he can run away from you, and we saw that in that 2,000-yard season 3 years ago. But he has slowed down with various injuries. 10th play of the drive, second and goal. Back to Lewis. Hit at the line of scrimmage. Good ankle tackle. Appeared to be Charles Grant slicing in from his defensive end once again.
Well, remember that last time they were down here, Dick, and you did a great job of foretelling it. When they spread that defense out, Steve McNair ran that draw. Don't be surprised if Brian Billick spreads them out again and makes them prove that they can play that play a little differently.
At the 4-yard line, third and goal. The Ravens are 3 for 3 on third downs in this opening half. There it is, the spread. You can bet somebody is keying on McNair, who flips it over the middle, and wide open for the touchdown is Clarence Moore, the 6'6" target from Northern Arizona. Big smile from the veteran McNair. He's run for a touchdown and thrown for another out of the same formation.
And almost really not fair when you hit a receiver right here that's got about a 4-inch advantage, and you're trying to man up a guy like Bullock's against a great big receiver like that, it's just perfect for Steve McNair. That wasn't anything about a new offense. That was just veteran poise.
Stover on for the extra point. And a 14-0 lead. Impressive after the interception in the end zone. 80 yards, 11 plays. Moore with a touchdown catch. Clarence Moore, 4 yards on the touchdown catch. His first reception of this season goes for the touchdown. And a 14-0 lead. And the Ravens, with this great defense of theirs, when they get a 2-touchdown lead, they're really rough on the opposition, Randy. Stover down to Michael Lewis. Lewis with a little crease. Takes it out to the 30-yard line. Drew Brees in the offense. Got some work to do. Down by 2 scores.
Stuff.
Well, the presentation was award-winning. From the 30. Handoff up the middle after a fake on a reverse. And Deuce McAllister able to pick up about 7 yards. Well, Brian Billick, he knows with that defense, when he gets a 14-point lead, he's going to be tough to beat. Really tough to beat.
Well, he's got an entire defensive unit of, whatever your analogy is, shark, lion, whatever the carnivore is. When they smell a little blood like that and they get a defense or offense one-dimensional, you're going to see nothing but guys screaming for whoever has the ball.
On 2nd and 3, Brees shotgun. Flares it out in the flat to McAllister, who just does get back to the line of scrimmage. May have lost a yard. Ray Lewis, the tackler. Let's go to JB in New York.
Hey, Dick and Randy, Larry Johnson, 11 carries, 71 yards in the first quarter, including that 3-yard dive there. Kansas City ahead of Seattle, 10-7. That in the second. Back to Dick Enberg. Randy Cross.
All right, James.
I thought Seattle was hurting on the offensive side of the ball. I thought the defense is getting a few bruises on him, too.
Well, that's about a 6-yard dive by Johnson by the time he landed in the end zone. Here's 3rd and 4 and another flag. And false start, usually the call when it is whistled that quickly.
False start. Offense, number 7. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Jamal Brown, who was the right tackle for the Saints last year, and then they switched him to left tackle.
But, this is kind of like homecoming season, Dick, for most football teams and stuff. And, when you get a really good-looking date, guys are kind of nervous around good-looking women. But this is a really good defense, and this Saints offense is really nervous around this good defense.
They'll make you shiver regardless. And here they come with another blitz, and they knock down the pass by Brees, as it was Jerome Sapp coming up the middle that was able to fly swatted away. James Brown, he's busy today.
Hey, Dick, I hate to say this for the ex-49er working with you, but the first 7 plays for the 49ers, 3 turnovers. Chicago has capitalized on all of them. That 3-yard up and over dive there, 24-0 in the second. Dick and Randy.
Ouch.
Can they vote to stop it?
The Saints held without the first down, and the punt by Steve Weatherford down to B.J. Sams, and tries to reverse unsuccessfully, and down after a 44-yard punt, a -2 on the return. DeJuan Gross in on the tackle. They still play some pretty sweet Dixieland jazz down these parts. Well, the fans quieted by the Ravens' 14-0 lead, and Baltimore back with the ball as McNair has been red hot this first half, 7 for 8 with a touchdown pass and a touchdown run. And he gives to the workhorse Jamal Lewis for about 4. Omar Stottmeyer, the tackler. Coming up on the Sprint halftime report, JB and company will have all the latest early NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Sprint halftime report. They spot the ball just across the 25-yard line. 2nd and 8. Clayton and Mason to the left. Lewis at tailback. And a play action McNair, and the throw to Mason complete at the 40, on the sidelines again, and skips out of bounds with a first down in front of Fred Thomas.
Well, Baltimore's taking a real chance with Steve McNair. They blocked down with Jonathan Ogden. That freed up Will Smith, but he had to hesitate and respect it. And McNair completes that pass. But here's the kind of thing that's going to happen to McNair if you're going to let defensive linemen get shots on him. He'll says, I'll take that trade.
Big smile with 6 straight completions. 14 yards on that one. Back to Lewis, and he fights forward for 5 on first down.
Well, you see that play very effective. Anytime you get a running play gets more than 4 yards is very effective, and the reason is right there. Jonathan Ogden being matched one-on-one right there. That's a mismatch. You put a 6'9", 350-pound offensive tackle on Mark Semino. That is the Saints linebacker's worst case scenario.
And Semino's looking way up at him. He's only 6 feet tall.
He gets a chest full of him.
Look how deep Lewis is. He's about 8 yards in the backfield. And he picks his hole and gains a couple short of the first down. Stottmeyer again comes up to assist Will Smith on the stop.
That left side, watch Jonathan Ogden coming down, blocking on Young, and just seals things down. And those are the kind of plays, though, as an offensive group, you need that backside guy, whether it's a wing or a tight end, to seal that next linebacker out or the defensive end, and then it's going to pop. But it was excellent defense by New Orleans, sealing everything behind the All-Pro Ogden.
Ogden, 9 consecutive Pro Bowls out of UCLA. Crowd trying to help on 3rd and 3. McNair hit. Is that a fumble or an incomplete pass? No signal yet.
I think it was a fumble.
And it is New Orleans ball. And again, it's the big guy, Hollis Thomas. He's covered 2 in this first half, with Charles Grant forcing McNair to lose the ball.
Clean, too. Charles Grant comes completely clean. See, he tucks the ball back into his body, and not until it gets back into his body does he lose it. Remember the tuck rule. He's pulling it in, and then he loses it once it gets down to his body. It's going to be challenged because Billick's going to say that was a tuck. That was not a fumble. That was a tuck. And, of course, we all remember the most famous tuck of all time was at the old Foxborough Stadium with Tom Brady.
That look.
But, Dick, once you do that, once your body comes around and you're tucking that thing in, you have protection.
Baltimore challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble.
Oh, that'll bring back some ugly memories for the fans watching up in the Bay Area. Ravens with a 14-0 lead, and we anticipate now whether or not this will be overruled. Jerome Boger has been studying throughout that commercial break. Is McNair trying to tuck the ball when he loses possession?
See, as he goes to throw it, now he's starting to bring it back in because of the pressure, and as he's tucking it back in, that's when the ball comes loose. And I mean, that looks, minus a couple feet of snow, that's eerily familiar to what Charles Woodson did to Tom Brady, making that contact as he was pulling that ball in. If the ball comes to rest as he's bringing it down like he has a chance to reload it, then it can be a fumble, but it never really comes to rest. It's coming out there as he's pulling the ball back into his body.
Just as a fan, I didn't like the rule then. I don't like the rule now.
Yeah, there's a lot of them I don't like.
That's a lot of work by a defensive end forcing a fumble, and if it's overturned, that'll be a huge break for the Ravens.
But I think what it amounts to now is it's the judgment's been made. It's where was the ball? Because if it is an incomplete pass, now we got to go back, next down, punt, everything else. And that's what's being spotted.
Now you see the percentage, over 40% of the challenges have gone with the coach that tosses the red flag.
And I believe this one will help those percentages.
It certainly looked like the evidence that we showed that this will be, under the rules, an attempt by McNair to touch.
Dreaded somewhere in the Bay Area, there is an Oakland Raider owner by the name of Al Davis flinching because it's all because of this. Charles Woodson free on the blitz. Brady perceived to be moving that ball back into his body.
That wasn't as much a tuck as this one.
This was a pretty much definition of it.
After reviewing the play, there's an incomplete pass. The quarterback's arm was
was thanking the wrong guy. He's pointing in the wrong direction. He's got to point over to Jerome Bogert.
So the tuck rule invoked here in New Orleans, and that'll bring up 4th down. McNair says, yeah, I knew it was an incomplete pass all the way. So Sam Cook comes in to punt it away for Baltimore, the rookie from Nebraska. Fans, of course, are unhappy. They thought they had the possession on a short field. Now Cook will deliver one down to Reggie Bush, who stands at the 10-yard line.
That's just it. Good news, bad news for the fans. The bad news is you didn't get that fumble. The good news is you get to watch Reggie return a punt, hopefully.
Reggie looking for something that will be inspirational. He's had a tough first half. A fumble and an intercepted pass. Very high on the punt, and a fair catch by Bush at about the 12-yard line. Whoa, little action underneath as a couple of special teamers entangled. Gary Stills, who starred with Kansas City many years on special teams.
Well, Dick, the crowd and Sean Payton aren't happy with this spot. See, Reggie Bush makes the signal, catches it on about the 11.5, steps back, and they've marked this ball inside the 10.
And the young head coach of the Saints not at all happy. First of all, he lost what he thought was a fumble, and now he shortchanged on the fair catch.
Yeah, he's making the great point. The ball's supposed to be spotted where you catch the ball when you fair catch it, not where you come to rest.
That was closer to the 12 than it was to the 10. The argument and the booing of these fans as we were away from commercial doesn't change a thing. Saints down 14-0 with 7:36 left in this opening half. And it's Reggie Bush dancing for close to 5 yards. Ray Lewis made the tackle, and you call that name a lot. He leads again the Ravens in tackles, as he has 8 times as the Baltimore middle linebacker.
Yeah, Dick, remember what Bart Scott talked about, this defense putting some helmets on Reggie Bush and hitting him and testing him and see how he handles it. And honestly, he has not handled it exceedingly well so far. This defense can be very intimidating.
McAllister now in the backfield on 2nd and 5. And the deuce. No hold at all there. Nothing for McAllister. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Well, the player of the play here is Eric Moore coming from the backside on the defensive tackle. Watch him fill. Isn't that a nice example? 95, just coming in the backside. We talk about those guys that fill up those backside gaps, and Moore does a really nice job of taking that play completely away from Deuce.
Tough nose tackle Kelly Gregg got a piece of the action as well.
Very, very different defense. You got down linemen on only one side of the ball. 2 down linemen.
Breeze. Deflected and intercepted. It's a Raven touchdown right into the arms of Ronnie Prude, the undrafted free agent from LSU. That's quite a time to make a statement. Prude from nearby Baton Rouge gets a gift and a score as it goes off the hands of Aaron Stecker. It is his 2nd interception in this rookie season.
They lined up, loaded to the right, to the defense's right. Drew Brees throws it to the defense's right, and Stecker just has it bounce off him right into the hands of Prude. That was just too much of a gimme.
Stover's extra point try, and it's 21-0 Ravens. And that's really deflated the enthusiasm of this huge crowd at the Superdome.
This is just a matter of composing yourself for New Orleans. Drew Brees puts his ball right on the receiver, Stecker. He's just trying to sneak a look. You sneak a look, the ball's going to bounce off you, and that's going to be the result.
Built comfortable. Built strong. Built right. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
This fall, NFL Network invites you to our premiere of live NFL games. A new tradition begins at the place football season never ends.
You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 41.
Back in New Orleans, and Drew Brees in the Saints offense now in a deep hole, trailing by 3 scores against one of the most difficult teams to score against in the NFL.
Dick, there's a great example of why I hate quarterback rating systems, because that's a big ding on Drew Brees. That's an interception. That's a touchdown. That's a big negative for a quarterback. That wasn't even his fault. Stecker took his eyes off the ball and it bounced off the running back.
All 21 points for the Ravens from turnovers. Here comes Michael Lewis. And the sprinter is out across the 40 and still on his feet to midfield. So Lewis gives the Saints fans a reason to cheer. He's from just outside the city of New Orleans, Metairie.
One more look at that interception, or perceived interception. Stecker sneaks a look back at the defense, and the ball bounces right off his chest and shoulder pads and into the arms of Prude. And, you know, Drew Brees will be the first guy to stand right up and say, hey, that's on me. I should have thrown it so it couldn't bounce off him. I should have hit him in the hands. But
that was right in the face mask, wasn't it? So from near midfield, Brees fires. Colston is open and horse-collared at the 46-yard line. Fans want a penalty, but that was a legal tackle by Jarrett Johnson.
Well, the beer man, Michael Lewis, put him in a great position, making this comeback. Crowd was really excited about seeing him on the field, having been off the field for a while with the injuries that he's had, and has made a great contribution. But Drew Brees getting this offense going, and don't be fooled. The offense has to change. Your game plan coming in, if you're Sean Payton and Doug Marrone, their offensive coordinator, is scrapped. 21-0. You can't stay faithful to that against this defense.
5:25 left in the half, and Bush is hit just as he gets to the line of scrimmage. And the Ravens and Ray Lewis that time slashing in from outside and beat Bush to the hole.
It's been a pretty bad day at the office so far for Reggie Bush. There was the early hit, the early fumble, and the interception that was credited to Ray Lewis. And it's been a matter of, you know, it's hard for a running back to sort of slow down at times. And it seems like he's been very frenetic in his action, and just he's let the defense affect him a little bit. He's playing their game, not his.
Saints at 3rd down and 4. They've done very well this year, 6 for 6 in this situation, but got to hurry now, and they can't get a play off. So Brees spends his second timeout.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
4:38 left in the half. Set work. So 3rd down and 4, and a flag before the snap, and this is another false start against the Saints.
This Saints team needs halftime to get some poise, because they do not have any right now.
Offense, number 52, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Center Jeff Thane with the painful 7th penalty of the half for New Orleans.
And right now, this offense looks like it had a 2-week break. They look out of sync. They look intimidated, and they just don't look like they've got their proverbial stuff together.
3rd and long. They rush only 4. The throw is complete to Colston. This big, tall rookie from Hofstra gets himself open again. And we watched him in practice, Randy. He's got such wonderful hands. Not only can he get open, he makes every catch look easy.
He's working against Samari Rowe, who gave up all those big plays 2 weeks ago to Steve Smith in much the same manner, just sort of watching the other guy do it. And if Colston can get this kind of action, just keep riding that dog. Just keep giving him the ball.
1st down at the 32 of the Ravens. Brees over the middle. Joe Horn, touchdown. Certainly the emotional medicine that the Saints needed, down 21-0, and Brees fires a laser at Joe Horn, who has his 3rd touchdown catch of the season.
You got to give all the credit in the world to Colston and to Horn, but there's the guy you credit on this offense. That is Drew Brees, not letting these guys be affected. What a great job of leadership and poise by a veteran quarterback, hitting a rookie with a good pass and then hitting a veteran like Horn with that laser.
On for the point is John Carney. with a 32-yard touchdown throw. Breeze to Horn makes it 21-7. And with that touchdown, Horn becomes New Orleans' all-time leader with 49 touchdown catches as he moves ahead of Eric Martin. They were tied with 48. Oh, 21-7, and a much-needed score for the home team. That fallen behind 21-0, and what a throw by Breeze.
Yeah, try to tell me that shoulder's still a little sore from that injury he suffered at the end of the season last year. Drew Brees this isn't about touch. This is about zipping the ball in. He saw the safeties had a mistake. There was a mistake in the defensive backfield between Ed Reed and Jerome Sapp. And when Ed Reed moves up and Jerome Sapp doesn't react, that's how he gets that touchdown pass in.
52 yards and 4 plays for the Saints.
Those are the two safeties. Watch Ed Reed react here, and when Sapp steps up, Horn is free. Watch. Here comes the step up. Here's Horn and Reed. Sapp steps up, and that's all she wrote. Didn't have the help over the top.
So with 4:08 remaining in this first half, the Ravens give up a touchdown very quickly on a rifle shot from Breeze to Joe Horn.
You know, part of it, too, was Drew Brees kind of picked the pace up of the offense. You know how they've been hesitant. They were jumping off sides. That was a couple of plays where the whole tempo and pace of the offense was much quicker.
And credit to Michael Lewis's kickoff return to set it up out to midfield. B.J. Sams. And he is toppled at the 28-yard line. Good special teams coverage by the man himself, Michael Lewis, playing at both ends of the kickoff. A reminder, next Saturday, chum Marcus Russell and LSU tangle with Eric Ainge and the Tennessee Volunteers. Vern Lundquist and Gary Danielson call the action for you. The excitement begins at 3 Eastern, 12 in the West on the TIAA crowd. College football today, and the crowd is back at the Superdome.
They've got plenty of time to make something happen. Down by 14.
Fake to Lewis. McNair down the middle. Complete to Derek Mason. And Mason sliding over the middle of the field has another big catch for the Ravens.
Dick, when you asked him that question yesterday about routes that you have perfected as a pro, the 10-year vet tells us, you know what, it's been 10 years, but I don't think I've perfected a route. You know, there's a lot of DBs in this league that would argue that Derek Mason runs some exact routes and maybe occasionally even runs a perfect route.
22 yards on that catch. First down at the Saints 49. 3:22 left in the half. Baltimore has 2 timeouts left. Mason again. Short yardage this time on his 4th catch of the game.
But they're really making this defense pay when the defense takes its shots. And Sean Payton's coordinator, Gary Gibbs, has really flourished this year on the way to this 5-1 start with getting away with man coverage. But Steve McNair and this offense have exploited them when they've brought that blitz, been caught in man. That's when the big plays have come.
You see the leaders for the Ravens, and McNair 10 for 12 passing, 123 yards. He's been on the money. Lewis in the backfield on 2nd and 3. McNair flushed out. He's going to make another first down as the veteran slides at the 32-yard line. Omar Stottmeyer, the defender, and McNair is very close to that 3,500 rushing mark. He needed 23 yards today. Back to Carolina at Baltimore, Week 6. McNair suffered the concussion and a twisted neck when he was sandwiched here by Chris Draft and Mike Rucker of the Panthers. Benefited certainly from the bye week, passed the medical exams in order to see action today. And he has played an outstanding half. Timeout, the 2-minute warning. First down, 32, Baltimore. 2 minutes to go. Leading 21-7. Back to Lewis. Cuts back to the weak side and staggers across the 25 with an 8-yard gain. Let's go back to that play by McNair.
Well, as we run this, we're going to freeze, and I'll show you why McNair was able to run so well, and it's something this defense has done a lot of. Okay, now freeze. Got man coverage. You've got man right here. You've got man. You've got man. You got nobody to throw it to. The only guy available is the umpire, and he can't stop McNair. That's why that play ran so well. Good poise by the veteran quarterback.
Those 33-year-old legs picking up the first down. Second and short, back to Lewis, who has another first down. He's run with some considerable determination today. I think the idea, Billick taking over the play calling, and he brought the team together and said, here's what we're going to do. And we just reading between the lines, it basically was, we're going to run hard, tackle to tackle.
Exactly. And remember, too, you've got a Matt Stover, and Brian makes no bones about the fact that when I get to the 30 in, I know I have a field goal in my back pocket. I'm not going to call any high-risk plays and risk not having those extra 3 points on the board.
And meanwhile, he's chewing up the remaining time here at the end of the half. Again, it's Lewis, and he will stop the clock as he steps out of bounds just outside the 15-yard line. So Jamal Lewis over 60 yards in this first half as we look at Matt Stover, who is on quite a streak, 30 straight field goals he's made, just 12 off Mike Vanderjagt's record.
We've got a couple of kickers who are here with a little bit of experience with the 17 years in the league. This card harkens back to the old days in the NFC with the Andersons and Anderson matchups.
That's right. Well, and Carney, you see there, he's only 4 months younger than his head coach. Both men at 42.
My rookie year, I played with a guy that was 2 years older than our head coach. Jimmy Johnson, his last year in the league.
Oh, the defensive back, Rayford Johnson's brother. Yeah, what a player he was. Second timeout by Baltimore. They have one remaining with 39 seconds on the clock. Well, coming up is the Sprint Halftime Report with JB and company for the latest NFL scores and highlights. And Randy's sitting back. Can't wait to see if the 49ers rallied.
Yeah,
all coming up
that
on the Sprint Halftime Report.
Oh, gosh. Steve McNair has had quite a day. Remember, we showed you earlier that concussion 2 weeks ago, 2 Sundays ago against Carolina. And it's been taking the shots, throwing the ball, be willing to take the gambles, but also running the ball. It's eerily familiar. Almost put a Titan uniform on him. It looks like one of the games he had for Jeff Fisher in Tennessee.
Well, what did Derek Mason say to us yesterday? He said, he's got a strong arm and he can throw the big hard one, hard fastball, but it's his touch and on those replays, those beautiful touch on every one of those passes. 204 yards total for this Baltimore offense in the half as they look at second down, and McNair looks for 6. Instead goes underneath to Mason, skips away from one Saint tackler and has a first and goal at the 7-yard line, clock running. Scott Shanley made the play.
Here comes a spike the ball. And his defense better be alert that he doesn't fake a spike and throw it.
And the clock stops at 22 seconds with a timeout in the pocket of Billick to get the field goal unit on.
Seeing as we're going back to the Sprint halftime, I figure I'd throw that fake the spike and throw it in for Marino back there. Just another dagger for you Jet fans that forgot maybe that play. But.
The field goal kicker ready to punch a short one through if needed, but the Ravens would like to counter that touchdown pass of Breeze to Horn and get the 3-touchdown lead back.
Dick, remember how effective spreading this defense has been. They just took their heavy load out and they've got their receivers in. They're going to spread this defense out again.
They do leave Musa Smith in as a tailback behind McNair. And it's Smith up the middle. And he is met rudely. A good defensive charge from Scott Fujita, who leads this Saints team in tackles this year. There's the last timeout spent by Baltimore with 15 seconds to go.
It's pretty obvious now. You're sitting at 3rd and 6, 15 seconds to go, no timeouts, and you're going to take your shot into the end zone. If it's not absolutely positively there, you drill it into the pad on the wall of the end zone and let Matt Stover come in here and kick a field goal. Kind of a fascinating talk last night when we got Brian Billick going on play situations and timeouts.
economy and how you use your timeouts where and how.
Game management. In fact, that's one of the reasons he brought Vic Fangio in here, because he knew he'd be so involved in the offense. Vic Fangio sits upstairs and is in charge of pretty much just saying, hey, you know, you got two in your pocket, you want to use one here. Just those things that a head coach pays a lot more attention to, but a coordinator can't, and Vic Fangio is the guy in charge of that now for Baltimore.
Well, here's that same formation that scored 2 touchdowns on a pass to Moore and on the quarterback draw. Moore's in the game. The throw is almost intercepted. It goes through the hands to Todd Heap for a touchdown. How did that pass get through the defense?
Pretty easy, it looked like. Unbelievable. Both defenders, I think they were planning on what they were going to do with it, Dick.
It seemed as if it was an ill-advised throw from McNair right into 2 black jerseys. But somehow it worked its way through, and Todd Heap says thank you very much.
During training camp, you see coaches set up a drill where players wave their arms in front of a receiver and make him concentrate on the ball. That was just waving arms with nobody wanting to catch it but Heap.
I want to see that one again. Stover adds the extra point, and what a little frosting on the cake here at the end of the half.
Well, Todd Heap coming from the lone tight end position. Scott Fujita's right there. It just brushes over the top of Scott Fujita's hands. He's the one that should have caught this. It's like he mistimes the jump a little, but you know, don't forget to add a little love in there to Jason Kraft, who's also right on the money right there.
Kraft is in front, and Fujita, and somehow the ball goes through for a touchdown. That's when your play calling is really getting good. Well, Vic Fangio, the consultant, you got to do that too. You're up there to be part of the spirit of things. And for the Baltimore Ravens, the 28 points here in the first half equals their best score of the season when they racked up 28 in a 28-6 win over the Raiders earlier this year.
But now 3 touchdowns on tip balls, because that ball was tipped. 2 against Carolina and 1 there. Just back to Vic Fangio real quick. He was a very good addition, a smart addition, especially coming down here to New Orleans. He spent a lot of great years down here with New Orleans when Jim Mora had those great, you know, dome patrol defenses and whatnot.
Fangio getting ready to go back and join the other coaches at the halftime. Stover punches one low and skids down to Lewis, eventually at the 10-yard line. And Lewis out of bounds at the 26 with 5 seconds left in the half. Ronnie Prude, the man who picked off the deflected pass for a touchdown, his first score as a pro. The LSU alum makes the tackle.
Well, this is absolutely kneel on the ball time. Go back in for New Orleans and try to figure things out, and you're going to need help. You know, let's be honest. This is the Baltimore defense, so you're going to need the Baltimore defense to help you some and the Baltimore offense to help you some. But New Orleans has really got to get in there, get the whole playbook out, and figure out what's going to work against these guys.
Well, it's a kneel down. Joe Horn was the back of the tailback position as a safety. Well, the fans disappointed. They came ready to roar their approval of this 5-1 start for the Saints, who are unbeaten at home, won their first 3 games here at the Superdome. But an excellent Raven.
That's the formula for sitting right where they're supposed to be.
Well, I'd like to remind you that this game is being broadcast in high definition here on CBS, home of Super Bowl 41. And Sean Payton indicated to us as turnovers and penalties, that's what will sabotage any game. And that's exactly what happened to the Saints in the first half as Michael Lewis brings back the kickoff. And we're underway in the second half. Runs out of room and the flag flies. Tackle made by Evan Oglesby.
Receiving team, number 18. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Terrence Copper guilty of the hold, and so Drew Brees and the Saints will start very deep in their own territory. And there's the story of their half. The 1 touchdown coming on.
And the 3 turnovers. And we open the half with the other part of that formula you talked about that Sean Payton mentioned, Dick. It's a penalty. And this is what you can't afford to do against this kind of a defense, is put yourself at even more of a disadvantage.
And the Saints have given up more points in one half than any game this year. 27 to Green Bay, but 28 by Baltimore in the opening half this afternoon. And another flag. And another false start. That's supposed to be what happens to the visiting team.
False start. Offense, number 12. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Well, Sean Payton knows full well that this Baltimore defense can turn a home team into a visitor pretty fast because they do affect the other team. Remember when they were doing the best offensively, it was when Drew Brees had that couple of plays there where the sequence was very quick. It was rapid. The pace was picked up. And this brings the pace to a grinding halt.
Triple stack right here for Brees, and he gets on the handoff inside the Reggie Bush, short yardage. And Bush, thus far on this season, the rookie has rushed for just a little over 200 yards, but he's averaging a bit under 3 a carry. Just hasn't been able to get off on a long one yet. And of course, Saints fans hoping that that will change.
Well, he hasn't been able to have that big pop kind of a run where he used to either get the corner or have the big cutback. Well, in this league, you're not going to get the corner, and so far he hasn't been able to find the cutback.
8 rushes for only 15 yards for the Saints today. Deep down the middle, and the play made, but a flag goes with it as Samari Roll reaching over the back of rookie Marcus Colston.
They had him inside out. Samari Roll had the outside part.
Pass interference.
Hold right there.
Defense, number 22. Automatic. First down.
That was the old methinks you doth protest too much.
Could have gone either for holding or interference, and so a first down for the Saints at the 25-yard line. And Brees quick out of the huddle. It's Deuce McAllister, and again a tough defense against the run. The Ravens and DeJuan Landry up from safety to support the backers and front four, averaging only 2.7 a run against the Raven defense this year. Best in the league.
If you will get your offense kind of constricted and you're not spread out against this defense, you're going to look at 9 guys at the line of scrimmage or within 2 or 3 yards of it. You're going to have the nightmare scenario for running the ball if you're going to completely stay that way.
Loss of a yard on that, and now Brees has to scramble and is hit from behind, slides across the 30-yard line. Kelly Gregg, the big nose tackle, made the stop, and we have an injured Raven getting up slowly in the backfield of the Saints. This is Trevor Price as we compare this defense with a 2000 Baltimore team that won the Super Bowl, and the numbers really are quite similar.
Well, the two I like are these two, the 18% in the red zone and the fact that teams just flat cannot run the ball. That 2.7 and 18% are the two numbers that jump off the list at me.
So the veteran former Denver Bronco Trevor Price helped off the field. We have a timeout. His coaching sons, Rex Ryan, the defensive coordinator. Of course, Buddy, remember, carried off this field at the Bears defense when they won the Super Bowl back in 1985.
Look at that heavy overload to the Saints left.
Brees underneath, almost caught by 2 different Saints as Deuce McAllister cut in front of Mark Campbell. It was Campbell, the tight end, who made the catch, just short of the first down by a yard.
Now you go from the center over, and it's interesting to see this defense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, you've got 7, 8 guys on one side of the ball. They throw the ball to the middle of the field, and they still can't get the first down on a crossing pattern, supposedly running into the part of the field where there were less Ravens.
So on 4th and less than 1, Sean Payton sends out the punting team. Steve Weatherford kicking to B.J. Sams. Sams circling at the 22, doesn't fair catch. The birthday boy out to the 34-yard line. And a timeout, 12.5 remaining in the third quarter. 21-point, can't quite see it, along the Mississippi. Many of the shops, including the famous Café du Monde. Jamal Lewis in the tailback spot as McNair and the Ravens' first chance in the second half, and comes out throwing and hitting. A first down goes to Todd Heap, the tight end, at the 45-yard line, a gain of 11. There's the Ravens taking advantage of 3 turnovers for 3 of their touchdowns.
Yeah, all 3 of the touchdowns scored by the Ravens were set up by exactly the kind of play you just saw. Steve McNair taking advantage of exactly what the New Orleans Saints were willing to give him. They had a zone, so he took a short pass.
Lewis able to get to the corner and then draws some company at the 50-yard line. A gain of about 5. Fujita led the charge. They were real pleased with him. Before Bush arrived, they had made the decision to pick up Fujita from the Dallas Cowboys as an unrestricted free agent. And Fujita was at Kansas City, was their number 1 tackler a couple of years. Very bright, big guy, 6'5", 250 out of California. Second and 5. Lewis caught in the backfield and drags the tackler to the line of scrimmage. No gain. Hollis Thomas was there first. Hollis, whose parents, both mom and dad, are chefs, and he said, hey, you want to see somebody cook, you just check me out. And they said, well, what's your specialty in this great city of cuisine?
Right.
I said, spaghetti.
Okay.
It's the sauce, though, he said. That's incredible. 5 for 6 on 3rd down for the Ravens. McNair steps away from pressure, gets around the umpire and dives for a first down to the 44-yard line, and that puts him over 3,500 yards rushing in his 12-year career.
And the key there, Dick, is the diving part. Guy coming off a concussion with absolutely no regard for his body. Would have been easy to slide, but willing to dive and go ahead and try to get that first down, which he did get.
24 yards rushing today, 3,501 in his career. 37 touchdowns, one of those today. Now it's his best game as a Raven. McNair 13 for 16. McNair fake toss. He could run that one too and then hit as he throws downfield, and the ball caught out of bounds, incomplete. Mark Clayton was the receiver, and Charles Grant was the man who delivered the hit on McNair as he threw the ball.
Well, he takes yet another shot. Charles Grant and Will Smith have both gotten a chance to get after Steve McNair, but they've gotten there just a little too late. That's giving your body up right there by the veteran quarterback out of Alcorn. And
Clayton had beaten McKenzie.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, McNair hasn't had a game this good in a couple years, Dick. I mean, he didn't have a game last year like that, and I guarantee you he wasn't having this much fun at any time last year in Tennessee.
Back to Jamal Lewis. Takes 2 or 3 Saints to finally get him down at the 41-yard line. Scott Shanley, ex-Cowboy, made the tackle. Nice numbers, and look at the rating reflecting it, 141.
Well, the two things, the touchdowns and the 28 points are the part of the passer rating I care about. His team is ahead by three touchdowns, and he's thrown 2 of them, and Brian Billick couldn't ask for a better kind of coming out party as the coordinator here and getting this kind of help from his quarterback.
Well, these wise Saints fans know that they need a stop. Down by 3 touchdowns, they need the ball back. The quick throw underneath is to Musa Smith, and Smith is brought down shy of the first down. They like him on 3rd down, his 4th year from Georgia. Fujita the tackler. And the punting team comes on for the Ravens.
There was a time they'd think about letting Stover hit a 56, 57-yarder from here.
As long as 55, but indoors, all these kickers always smile when they come into the domes. Reggie Bush is back.
Let's see if the rookie's got any spin on this ball and can make it bite.
Bush lets it go, and it's going to be down, well covered. And it was Ronnie Prude, the man with the interception touchdown. The rookie from LSU was able to stay inbounds, leap up, and bat the ball in play. Number 27 puts the Saints deep in their own end when we
when you're having the kind of day that Prude is, things work out for you. He doesn't step on the line there, doesn't step on the line there. That was excellent coverage. And Sam Cook sure made that thing bite the right way.
So from the 2-yard line, Drew Brees. Almost took a safety. Instead throws a touchdown on the interception. Dwan Landry, another rookie. So Landry from Georgia Tech and Prude from LSU. 2 Raven rookies celebrate touchdowns today. Prude setting that one up, and Brees, ill-advised, under pressure, saved the safety, 2 points, and gave away 7.
Well, remember, when you hit a pressure point in your leg, in your shoulder, in your arm, anywhere on your body, it's going to make you flinch. And that was a flinch by the New Orleans Saints. That was all pressure by the Baltimore defense. They were all over Drew Brees.
Stover trying to convert his 300th consecutive point after. Third best all time to Jason Elam, 371. Elam's mark.
There's Suggs and Adalis Thomas coming from the right. First pressure, second pressure. Oh, that was great job by that defense, rewarded with a touchdown.
The Superdome was ripped away by Hurricane Katrina. They've done a tremendous job in renovating this great facility. 2 defensive interception touchdowns. Boy, that correlates with victory about as well as any statistic in football. Here comes Michael Lewis off Sam Cook's kickoff, and he's dropped at the 25-yard line. For Landry, his first touchdown in the NFL. It's his 2nd pick this year.
Those are the 3 pressure points. Adalis Thomas, Suggs, and Kelly Gregg. Doesn't look like that to start with, but Suggs gets the first pressure. Adalis gets the outside, and Craig gets the inside. And Landry gets the touchdown, and Drew Brees has to watch the Baltimore Ravens celebrating and laughing, and the veterans are saying, hey, the young guys even get to score some defensive touchdowns.
So this is a team very proud of how many times they've scored on defense. Brees rifles it short underneath to Joe Horn for about 8 yards. Under Billick, when the turnover differential is +2 or better, as it is today, the Ravens are 36-0. About to be 37.
And that's all trackable to the guys on defense right here on the field. I mean, you get a team down with this defense, you know, Rex Ryan and company will just absolutely bury an offense.
Reggie Bush trying to get outside. That's the difference between the Pac-10 and the NFL. Against the UCLA and Washingtons of the world, you make the corner, not against this Raven defense.
Well, you can't, you know, where's the hole? That's the problem. It's you might be able to get outside on occasion, but in the NFL, it's got to be somebody's making a block inside for you. You got the patience to wait for it.
So Bush again unable to pick up positive yardage. He's on the day 4 carries 5 yards. 3rd and 5. Brees has time. Then flips it out in the flat to McAllister. Almost a shot put throw from Brees for the completion.
That's a little ad lib. That's a long shovel.
And it's good enough for the first down.
It's a late shovel pass. It took a little while to set this one up.
Get that thing out there.
Get it away from me. Yeah, because everybody that is in white wants to hit me every time I'm holding that thing.
So first down, Saints at the 39. The clock ticking. 6 minutes and change left here in the 3rd quarter. Another superb defensive display by this Baltimore Ravens team. And they're going to call that a pass. There's no flag yet. Trevor Price in on Brees on that occasion.
They're going to call that a sack.
Yeah, they're going to rule him down before he was able to throw the ball away. So Price, who had 64.5 sacks with Denver in his 9 years, gets another here for Baltimore, 3.5 this season for him.
Well, it was either or, because that's either a sack or intentional grounding, but you saw the foot was held and the knee went down just before he released the ball. So I guess it'd just be piling on, calling it intentional grounding.
Now 2nd and 21 for Brees. Bush. There's a little wiggle. Finally got into some daylight. And a pickup of about 10. DeJuan Landry, who just recently had the touchdown interception, makes the tackle.
And the key really with Reggie Bush is getting him in air, whether it's as a running back or as a receiver, and he sort of creates it there with that little spin move. That's something he's got to go out of his way to see if they can't help him create those opportunities. You know, everyone said when he was drafted, what's that mean for Deuce McAllister? Well, the style of running back Reggie Bush is, it means absolutely nothing. Deuce carries the load, and Reggie's supposed to make the big plays.
3rd and 10. Breeze unloads deep, and he has Horn open. Complete at the 22-yard line, and the flag is down. Ed Reed made the tackle. Reed saying he was pushed.
Oh, it was pass interference big time on Chris McAllister. We're going to call this one back. We're going to call everybody down there. It's going to be pass interference on Baltimore.
Pass interference. Defense, number 21, is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Oh, McAllister, it's a moot penalty, and that Horn made the catch. 39-yard play. Even though he leads 35-7, Billick not happy about this result. The ball up for grabs and finally batted down incomplete by Reggie Bush. And we know how successful the Ravens have been when that ball is deflected the last couple of weeks.
Well, it's almost like, you know, taxes and everything else. It's absolutely true. Is you get a big play on Baltimore, they're going to come back with pressure, and that was big-time pressure in Drew Brees' face. His play was set up to Reggie Bush, but they wouldn't allow it because of the pressure.
Bush stays in. Brees to the tight end Campbell. And Campbell struggles inside the 15. Gain of about 8. Tackled by Adalis Thomas. He's been nicknamed by former coach Mike Nolan, now out at San Francisco, as a defensive slash. And in fact, he's used slash as his charitable name. And it's because he can play anywhere. Defensive line, linebacker, and safety at 270.
And he's the gunner on the punt team.
Yeah, that's right.
Covering punts.
Maybe one of the best. 3rd down and 2. Brees dumps it underneath, and it will be enough for the first down to Horn. Horn knew exactly how much yardage they needed and camped out, and now they're going to say incomplete. Late call. The official up the line said that Horn did not stay in bounds.
Pass is ruled incomplete. The receiver stepped out of bounds on the second step.
Well, that's not what a pro will do very often, this veteran. Yeah, he couldn't quite get both feet down.
Yeah, he had 2 in as the ball was approaching him. Watch his feet in the field. 1 out. That was a great catch by the official. I mean, Sean Payton's going to challenge this, and he wants to see, but it's going to be very clear once they get around to it.
New Orleans is challenging the rule on the field of an incomplete pass.
So while they review the play, let's pause from New Orleans for these words. Here's what they're currently viewing, and it is a tight call.
Well, remember, Dick, it's got to be definitive and something that just begs for it. And see the feet. On that angle, it looks like he's in. On a couple other angles, it looks like both feet never have a chance to hit the ground, like this angle right here. Up.
After reviewing the play, there's an incomplete pass. The receiver caught the ball while airborne, and his second foot hit out of bounds. 4th down.
That's the first time you looked at it from that back angle we were just getting ready to show. You see him go up to catch it, and that left foot, it's off the ground when he catches it. When his body comes up, that's off the ground, and then he steps out of bounds. That's an excellent call.
So 4th down and a couple, and of course the Saints down by 28 will go for the first down here and see what kind of defense Rex Ryan calls for the Ravens.
Take a page out of Brian Billick's book and spread the Baltimore defense out a little bit, and maybe give you a chance to get a running play, if not a quick pass.
Ray Lewis and company just salivating as they dig in. Reggie Bush is the tailback. And Stecker on an option keeps the ball. Flag down, however, has the first down at the 8-yard line, but the umpire tossed the flag, and not a good sign for New Orleans.
That is almost always holding.
Holding, offense, number 52. 10-yard penalty from the spot of foul. Replay, 4th down.
So Jeff Fain hit again with the penalty. An interesting play. Stecker running the option either to toss to Reggie Bush or keep it himself.
There's Jeff Fain, the center, working against Kelly Gregg and then working against Bart Scott. And just basically gets that shoulder in and tackles him with the left arm. Along with 4 giveaways from New Orleans. 9 penalties now for 58 yards. So 4th and 9 now the call. Bush in the game. The quick throw incomplete to Colston. Fans wanted interference. No call. And Ray Lewis and the defense celebrates on hold on downs, and they take over at the 22-yard line. That was just a simultaneous arrival of the ball and Chris McAllister. It appeared from here at regular speed. And as that ball zips by Colston, it's kind of hard to see exactly when you slow it down a little bit, but naked eye, it looked like the difference was indiscernible. So with 3:25 left in the third quarter, they called him out in San Diego, a nickname for Drew Brees, Cool Brees, and it's been not so much cool today in New Orleans. Things have been tough, and here comes Jamal Lewis galloping around the right side. Big yardage out to the 39-yard line. Well, this New Orleans defense has put a little step back in his legs. Reminder tonight on 60 Minutes, folks, what happens when you put a microphone on Notre Dame coach Charlie Weiss? The priest at Notre Dame may not want to hear it, but you can on 60 Minutes tonight. Here's a look at the 2 quarterbacks today. I think you get a pretty good idea as to the stark difference in their play. Lewis now with 87 yards rushing to lead the way. Gets the ball back. And nothing on this occasion as Will Smith spearheaded the charge. Two interceptions, both going for touchdowns off Brees. And McNair's done everything right. Like you said, Dave, it's been the turnovers and the penalties that have just buried this Saints team. And you're going to see nothing but a steady diet of Jamal Lewis now, or, you know, occasionally you'll get a little Musa Smith. But this is about Steve McNair turning around and handing off and getting the stats a little skewed. Milk the clock. Big lead, 35-7. And a flag down.
False start. Offense, number 88. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Rookie Sipniewski ticketed. Last time he did that, he got drilled. So it was an improvement. See Rick Neuheisel there, the quarterback's coach behind Billick. You know, Billick angry at the call. I mean, angry at his player because that's a mental error, a false start. But it's also in his back of his mind a good thing, because when you have a big lead and you might win fairly easily, you like to have something to chew your team with on Monday. Down the middle to Todd Heap, in and out of his hands. And that's one of the rare times that Heap in a crowd won't come down with the ball. A nice job by Fred Thomas working on Heap. Because from all appearances, this was going to be a completion. But see, Fred Thomas got that left hand in between the 2 arms of Todd Heap, and Heap never really had a chance to catch that. That was excellent defense. Thomas in his 11th season at the corner, played at Tennessee Martin. Musa Smith in the backfield with McNair. And McNair does recover the muffed snap from center at the 25-yard line. That'll bring up 4th down. Eric Moore was first in on him at defensive end.
And that was not a bad snap. That ball was delivered exactly where the quarterback could take it and go right into his throwing motion, but Steve McNair was a little intent on looking down the field and not necessarily at the snap.
Out comes rookie Sam Cook, and the Saints drop back 2 returners. Michael Lewis joins Reggie Bush. Stecker almost in to block that punt. It goes to Lewis's side of the field. They fake the handoff as the 2 deep men cross paths, and a flag down.
Yeah, it's either going to be a push in the back or a hold.
Gary Stills, a special team star in the thick of things again. That was a good pickup for this already loaded defensive team. Stills, who just racks up special team tackle after tackle.
There is no foul for illegal block in the back. Both players were just running side by side. First down.
Stills going into this game already with 16 special team tackles when they found their way down, navigating the Ohio and the Mississippi out into the Gulf. I hope you'll make some plans to visit New Orleans. They're so grateful for all the visitors now. There's another deflection at the line of scrimmage. Chris McAllister coming up to bat that one away from Breeze. You know, it was Randy and I, we were walking in the quarter on Friday night, and a gentleman well dressed coming back from dinner just saw us, and he said, "Thank you for coming to our city. Thank you for being in New Orleans." And they really are so appreciative of any gesture, and they put it back together. It's not complete by any means, but a lot of the outstanding tourist places are open for business. The throw is off the fingertips of Devery Henderson, his first chance today. He's from LSU. Flag down.
I had a little defensive holding on that last play, a little tug and grab.
Holding, defense, number 21, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Chris McAllister.
He's had a little bit of a rough day. He's working against Devery Henderson. He gets past that 5-yard mark. He wasn't holding, but it was definitely impeding his progress.
Something certainly was in the way.
Is that semantics? Is that semantics?
Very good. So Breeze on first down. Here comes the pressure. He steps up and throws complete to Colston. And Colston breaks a tackle, and the rookie's in the end zone for a touchdown. Oh, this is some young budding star, Marcus Colston. Went to high school at Susquehanna Township, Pennsylvania. No one recruited him. He went to the major schools on to Hofstra. And what a find for these New Orleans Saints. That play good for 47 yards and a touchdown.
That's really what this kid has added to, Dick, is that yak. Those yards after the catch. He's such a threat once they get him that ball in his hands.
He leads the Saints now with 5 touchdown catches here in 7 games. Carney adds the extra point. And early here in the fourth quarter, high-stepping 6'4" Marcus Colston has another touchdown. Watch out, Wayne Crobett. Colston's in town. That touchdown, 74 yards in 6 plays, with Marcus Colston's 4th catch of the game. Good for the touchdown, 47 yards. And now Carney to kick it off, and one has to wonder if the Saints would try an onside kick. The Ravens don't think so. And DJ Sams near the goal line, brings it back, and tackled at the 24-yard line. The Saints think they have the ball here, but is ruled down by contact.
Do you see Terrence Cooper, number 18, the backup wide receiver, go diving over a couple of blockers to get him? That was an excellent effort, and as he was coming down, but watch from the left side of your screen, there's Terrence Cooper over the top of a blocker. The ball came out after he was down on the ground.
Copper from East Carolina. Well, the fans haven't given up. They're trying to fire up the defense with 14 and a half minutes left in the fourth quarter. Jamal Lewis, but it's McNair backpedaling to throw and into the flat, complete to Daniel Wilcox, the tight end, and he somersaults out of bounds with a first down at the 35, a flag down. Back on this side of the field.
Illegal use of hands to the face, offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Right tackle Tony Pashos up into the face mask of the man he was blocking.
And that ought to put a little bit of this crowd back into it. There's Pashos right there. Lined up at the right offensive tackle, working against Will Smith. Gets his hands up into the face. Actually, it was Antoine Lake working at the defensive end possession there.
Now this deep in their own end, up by 21. You figure just this. Lewis takes the handoff. They're trying to tackle the ball, the Saints, as Omar Stoutmeyer came up from safety to make a good hit. We want to thank the MetLife Blimp for providing today's terrific aerial coverage. Look for Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 when they pass through a town near you. A crystal clear, low humidity, 70-degree sunny day in New Orleans.
Wish you were here. Now this is a great position for the Saints defense. So a 3 and out is just as good as a turnover. Gets that offense back the ball and a chance to score.
2nd and 16. Lewis behind the blocking back Obi Mahaley. McNair skips away for a moment and down he goes with a sack. And Hollis Thomas, who's had a big game, covered a couple of fumbles. One was reversed, but he makes the tackle. The ex-Eagle.
Well, yeah, great pressure by Mark Semino coming from that middle linebacker spot right there. Just missing him, and that flushes him right up into Hollis Thomas's arm. So that's Eagle to Eagle. Semino signed as a free agent from the Eagles, and
Thomas as well. Trade swap of number 4 picks this year with the Eagles. Okay, 3rd and long. Handoff inside to Lucius Smith. And the Saints ready for that. And the fans root the defense off the field. Job well done. Well, these fans always have been as good as any in the NFL. They love their football down in this part of the world, and there's so many great high school teams, college programs, and even when the Saints in their leanest years, the fans always came in full support. And they're obviously pleased with a 5-1 start, though down here today by 3 scores, but they get the ball back, and Bush runs out of bounds as he fields the ball at the 35-yard line. 12 minutes and change left in the fourth. The Saints have the ball and the flag down. Now let's check this before we go to commercial. Late flag thrown at midfield.
Well, the Saints could use a break and not making a mistake here and backing themselves up. Sean Payton's offense does not need more handicap.
After the kick was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Receiving team, number 42, kicking team, 15-yard penalty. First down.
So Jerome Sapp of the Ravens is ticketed with a 15, so that will improve New Orleans' position when we return. Things are quiet on a football Sunday in the French Quarter as the Saints take over at the 48 of Baltimore, trailing 35-14. Breeze has to throw it away into the feet of the screen as the Ravens totally disrupted that pattern. Richie Bush couldn't find him.
Guess you got to call him the intended receiver. He's one of the 5 or 6 people standing there.
Bush, just a $1 million smile, his 21-year-old who has contributed his own money and care for the people of this city, his new town. Breeze underneath, handcuffs Henderson. Devery Henderson in and out of his hands, 3rd and 10. Here's some of the work from the heart from Reggie Bush. Gave a gift to Holy Rosary High School. Tad Gormley Stadium is the stadium where 6 different high schools here play, a big stadium, and he put a new field together, 12 SUVs to the state of Louisiana. There's from our blimp today. It's a major high school stadium, and he provided funds to resurface the field. That's where when the levee broke, that was in 15-20 feet of water. Underneath and incomplete, and no flag. Intended for Billy Miller. It's because somebody got a piece of the ball at the line of scrimmage. Adalis Thomas covering Miller. Well, 4th down and 10 from midfield, and Sean Payton's team will go for it. Just under 11 minutes left.
Well, if you're Sean Payton, you've got to think that this is about getting Colston or Horn involved in here getting a first down.
Here comes the blitz. And Breeze throws for Colston. Did he get it? Wow. Oh, my, what a play. It appeared to go off a Raven, and then Colston reached in and took it away from Samari Roll.
How he grabbed the ball and not Samari Roll's head as he was raking in the football, I just couldn't tell you on the sideline. Watch this as the ball arrives. Right on the backside shoulder. Oh, and still manages to have the presence of mind to drag his feet as he's getting possession of that ball.
And that's on 4th and 10 to keep the drive alive at the 34. Breeze deep down the middle, incomplete and intercepted on the carom. Another deflection. It's Landry again, who had a touchdown earlier in this half, and he's out of bounds with the ball. His second pick of the day, as Ed Reed deflected the ball intended for Colston, and Landry in the right place for the interception. Ravens defense denies again. Eddie Reed, number 20, since he came into the league out of Miami of Florida, he's earned the reputation he can use his head. Smart, quick, and tough.
Look at him. He says, I looked up and the ball hit me in the face.
That's using your head. That deflection then went for the interception. You just saw Landry the beneficiary. Jamal Lewis carries again as he's teasing Century rushing day. Mark Simoneau the tackler. So 3 interceptions from Breeze. That matches his career high at San Diego. And of course 4 total with the Bush interception in the first half.
I'm sure players usually don't admit to it, but there is some scoreboard watching that goes on in the NFL. And teams like Carolina and Atlanta looking over at this score will be very, very interested to see New Orleans backing up a little bit on them in the standings.
Jamal Lewis. And he battles his way for a couple. Short of the first down, Scott Shanley makes the tackle with 10.5 minutes to go. And Atlanta with a 9-point lead. That'll please fans watching in Baltimore as Cincinnati goes to Baltimore next week. They're currently tied at 4-2. Musa Smith comes in, Ravens huddle. Lewis to the sidelines, 2 yards short of a 100-yard rushing day for Jamal Lewis. Toss to Musa Smith. And the 4th-year man who played at Georgia is close to a first down. There's the AFC North at the start today, with Baltimore in a commanding 3-touchdown position here with 9:42 to go, and Cincinnati trailing by 9.
And Baltimore and Pittsburgh's put themselves in a position, Dick, that 10 games left. They've got to be 8-2, worst case scenario, and hope that 10 games get you in the playoffs in the AFC this year.
And of course, fresh in their memory the tremendous finish last year, and as the wild card all the way to the Super Bowl ring.
But they did that from 7-5. It's a little bit deeper hole they've dug themselves this year.
Fred Thomas making his way off the field for New Orleans, the corner.
The play clock to 20 seconds. 20 seconds on the play clock.
Well, the praise for 42-year-old coach Sean Payton is well deserved when you consider what he has accomplished to this point at 5-1. What, 28 new players, more than half the roster has changed. And I think most experts, Randy, would agree that, man for man, if you compare these two teams, there's no question what ball club has more talent. And yet he's been able to work some wonders. There's Jamal Lewis on first down, hit by Scott Fujita.
Well, it's real important when you talk about a guy taking over a new program. How often do you hear the term, they've got to change the attitude and they've got to change the culture? And they have changed the culture and the attitude of this football team. You see all these first-year coaches. Sean Payton going into this game was the only one with 5 wins, and he took over a losing team.
3-13, yeah.
Childress and Linehan, I think, took over pretty talented football teams that are playing fairly well. No one would have picked this team to be 5-1 after 6 weeks. It's such a testament to not only how they fed off the city, but how the city has fed off them.
Ravens spend a timeout. 8:43 left in the fourth quarter. Back in New Orleans in just a moment. I've been around a long time, and it was a shocking week. Red Auerbach at 89, Joe Necro, Marlon McKeever. We lost 3 great members of the sporting community in the last couple of days. McNair over the middle, incomplete to Demetrius Williams. Jason Kraft on the coverage of that McNair pass.
Demetrius Williams is getting a pretty good chance here today. Clayton hasn't gotten that much playing time. We've seen an awful lot of rookie out of Oregon, built fairly similar to a guy like Marcus Colston, 6'2", and carries the weight well and is a very, very fast receiver.
Musa Smith in the backfield with McNair. On 3rd and 10. Ooh, my, that was a wicked hit on Clarence Moore. As timing it was Mike McKenzie. McKenzie hasn't had a lot of duty on pass defense. They tried to stay away from him, and he was ready to race up and make that hit. He saw it all the way.
No thank you notes from your quarterback on that one. That's one of those, what do you want for lunch? How about some ribs?
No. Hopefully he's able to shake off that hit. Reggie Bush back as Sam Cook to kick for the 5th time. Bush saying, what's the play here? Oh, almost blocked by Kraft. Almost deflected that ball as it kicks toward the sidelines and then is down by the Ravens. Ever so close was Kraft to blocking that one. Well, tonight on 60 Minutes should be very interesting. Notre Dame's outspoken coach Charlie Weiss apparently has been mic'd, and we get to eavesdrop this evening on 60 Minutes. That'll be followed by new episodes of The Amazing Race, Cold Case, and Without a Trace. Tonight on CBS. Again, this season, America's most watched network, and of course that outstanding Sunday night lineup follows the second game of our doubleheader, so stay tuned. Most of you will see Indianapolis, Denver, but the Jets are at Cleveland. Jets got a chance to go 5-3, and Pittsburgh out at Oakland. The Raiders finally with their win figured to play tougher. Underneath and incomplete is Breeze trying to hit Joe Horn. Here's a young man, Drew Brees. It's just a model character. He and his wife have left San Diego. They bought a 100-year-old home in the city near Tulane University, remodeling that. He wants desperately to be a part of this community. And we saw him, an hour before the game, going down the line, signing every autograph he could before the game today.
We've got some very high-character new additions with he and Reggie Bush, just trying to be a big part of the community.
Open is the tight end, Campbell down the middle, and he's finally cut down at the 40-yard line by Ed Reed. First down for the Saints. Clock running. We're at the midpoint of this final quarter.
Just right deep down the middle, wide open. When you've got a linebacker, you've got a Dallas Thomas trying to trail and stay with Campbell, and Campbell got wide open in front of him.
Wisely, Breeze hurries his team into formation. 26 yards on that play. The pump and the throw underneath to Bush. He draws a crowd. Able to spin forward for maybe 2 yards. Bart Scott, the tackler.
You draw a crowd against Oregon State, it's one thing. You draw a crowd against Baltimore, you're not spinning and getting away from these guys.
That Bart Scott at 4.5 speed and 240 pounds. They called him Mad Backer because his teammates claim he makes Ray Lewis look timid. Mad Backer. The throw again to Bush, and he's caught around the ankles. And Scott, the man there, showing you that he's fast enough to stay with a speedy Reggie Bush.
Bush might have gotten a little twisted up there, might have twisted an ankle or something on that tackle.
Bush led all running backs in catches coming into this game with 38. He has 4 more today, but for only, as you can see, 5 yards. Looks like his calf he was holding.
Watch the way Bart Scott comes in here, almost like I'm at the rodeo and he's a calf roper. Comes in and goes for the legs, strings them up, gets them together, raises his hand and says, "What was the time on that one?" So he just goes for, he gets both legs, both ankles. That has to be a cramp.
And then he says, wow. "Bring on the Brahmas. I'll ride you too."
That was some good defense.
It really was, because Bush had some running room in the middle of the field.
And there's one of those examples. We talk about the difference in the pros and the college game. Great example. There's a linebacker, a guy that's played middle linebacker, a little outside linebacker, but he's running with a guy that's been credited with a 40 in the 4.3 range. And he still has the quicks to get up on him and not let him get away.
Feeling the back of that high ankle. And fans are already in love with this young guy, Reggie Bush. Can hardly find a number 25 jersey in this city.
How do you not like him? I think he's done everything. Probably the best example. If you're a young athlete out there and you want to think about coming into the NFL, how should I handle myself? How should I conduct myself? There's your model right there. He's gotten some great advice, and he's also done everything just perfectly coming in.
Not only giving charitable monies to the city, but giving his time, touching people. Breeze, pump, and then the throw is complete to Copper, and he's bumped out of bounds. His first catch today, and his third catch of the season.
It's a hit to the head, I think, on against Drew Brees by the defense. A little blow to the head, catching the helmet of the quarterback, and it's going to cost the Baltimore defense 10 yards. It was a corner blitz on that play.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 22. That penalty will be added to the catch, half the distance, automatic, first down.
Here's Samari Rowe coming off the corner, 22, and not really quite used to it, and he just sort of launches himself up into the head area of the quarterback, and Drew Brees knows how to play a little, do a little request song.
Understandably, a lot of attention on young Bush, as with the penalty, it's 1st and goal for the Saints just outside the 5-yard line. Breeze to the corner, incomplete, trying to hit Colston. Breeze with the best passer rating in the 4th quarter in the NFL coming into the game today. That was Ronnie Prude defending. Had a touchdown interception earlier this year. Earlier today. 4th quarter rating for Drew Brees, 127.8. Tops in the league. 6 minutes to go. Down by 21, but as you pointed out, Randy Cross, he certainly battles right to the final bell. Throws incomplete to the tight end Campbell. Had it momentarily, but a good solid hit jarred it free.
Yeah, Ray Lewis applies shoulder and or helmet directly into the midsection of Campbell trying to make this catch. Right in the middle, watch 52, the all-pro middle linebacker, Paya. Right there between the 8 and the 0 were the ball and Mr. Lewis.
What reaction time. He seems to know right where to be and when.
It's amazing now with all this good young talent around him, he's almost a complimentary player.
All this time for Brees. Somebody's trying to get open. Incomplete. And nearly intercepted again by Prude. Ronnie Prude earning some medals today in that Ravens defense, denying Colston.
You can't wait this long and make a late decision, because this defense will make you pay for it. That was a break for the New Orleans Saints offense, because Prude was breaking on the ball just perfectly to get underneath and get himself a pick, and then with about 90 yards of nothing but grass in front of him.
So now 4th and goal. Colston in motion. Breeze underneath, incomplete. Went through the hands of Campbell. Looked as if that ball could have been caught.
Yeah, he was a little bit on the fiery side, but when you're throwing in these quarters, it's got to be. I mean, he puts it right there on the hands. That should have been caught. That should be a touchdown.
Instead, the Ravens take over on downs once again. So when New Orleans fans digest this game, and the coaches and players as well, they're going to look back. There's so many. What about the 2 interceptions for touchdowns if that hadn't happened? What about the touchdown at the end of the first half that went through 2 separate Saints and scored for Baltimore? How about twice inside the 20 and you lose the ball on downs?
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Baltimore now can all but run it out with a couple of first downs. The ball, Lewis. Out across the 10-yard line. Charles Grant makes the tackle, and Lewis now has hit the 100-yard mark today, 103.
And Dick, this actually is very good practice now for Baltimore and for Brian Billick on the other side, is running that, whether you call it a 4-minute offense or in this case a 6-minute offense or whatever, it's getting the ball late in the game and just not letting the other guys get it. And in this game, it happens to be 35-14, but who knows? Against Cincinnati next week, they may get the ball in a similar situation. It could be 17-14, and you don't want the team to get the ball again.
6 yards for Lewis on first down. And McNair has been there many times, uses the full complement of time. Finally the snap at 2 seconds. Lewis buried in the middle of that pile. Scott Fujita and company. Let's look at the Baltimore schedule with Cincinnati in a battle for first place next week. Then at Tennessee, improving Titans. Atlanta, Pittsburgh at home. Cincinnati. That's a pretty challenging schedule.
See that there? That Tennessee and Cincinnati are what's left of the second quarter for Baltimore. So they lost a game, so that's 0-1. Now it could be 1-1 in the quarter, and you got 2 more games left in the quarter. You chop it up in quarters. So if they can finish 3-1 in this quarter, Brian Billick and this football team can look at the next quarter and say, okay, we're going into the third quarter. Here's what we have to do. It doesn't matter who you play. You set a goal and you do it, and at the end of the year, you find yourself in a position Jonathan Ogden and Brian Billick and this organization have found themselves in numerous times.
So, Randy Cross, what grade do you give the new offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, I think I'd give him let's say a B with an assist. I think he's done a nice job of calling plays. Steve McNair has done an excellent job of executing. And the New Orleans Saints cooperated like crazy. They gave up the ball. They had penalties at great times. Overall, I think it was a very good performance of Baltimore.
McNair underneath is complete to Derek Mason, and Mason spins forward for a first down, and that'll chew up some more time. And meanwhile, we get a report on Reggie Bush, an left ankle sprain. And we'll have to wait to determine the severity of that injury. There's lots of smiles there in the white uniforms.
Oh, there should be. They've got Cincinnati trailing Atlanta, who they were tied with at 4-2. So there's a good chance Baltimore could host the Bengals next week with a 1-game lead on the Bengals.
So with all the concern for that man, McNair, with the concussion, would he even play in this game? His answer has been a very loud yes. And Lewis running the football as well as he has all season long. Not much on that carry, but it's a matter of protecting the ball. The clock ticks under 4 minutes to go.
Hey, you see where Chicago got shut out by the Niners in the second half. 10-0. Unfortunately, they won the first half 41-0.
The Bears and the Ravens, 2 teams with defenses that just, even if the offense doesn't contribute, they're going to score.
They absolutely intimidate and suffocate.
Lewis has been the workhorse today. He's going to be, well, is already 30 carries. 31 now to match the number on his uniform, and he's to the 24-yard line where it'll be 3rd down and 7. Well, how about the Saints? 5-1 and now 5-2 at Tampa, at Pittsburgh. and then they get Cincinnati here at the Superdome in 3 weeks. Not quite as tough a schedule, at least based on one-loss record, as the Ravens will face.
Isn't it interesting, though, about this league, Dick? You can look at the schedules for teams at the beginning of the year, and you truly have to wait until about the midpoint to tell whether or not you have a tough schedule. You know, because honestly, Pittsburgh at 2-4, they're not tough. They're dangerous, but they're 2-4, and if they don't beat Oakland, they're going to have a serious problem.
Musa Smith on the shovel pass, short yardage. Well, Randy's crosstalk. This is what you delivered at the start of the game.
Well, Bush didn't have the touches. He had an interception and had a fumble, and that didn't work out well. And their defense didn't do what they've done in the past for New Orleans. They didn't produce the big plays and the turnovers and the fumbles. And man, Baltimore really did. This is almost reminiscent of that 2000 year, where they just wore Jamal Lewis out and pounded you with him, and then made you pay on the defensive side.
Sam Cook now to punt it to Michael Lewis. And let's see, will he have to kick before it's going to be right at the 2-minute warning, but he delivers the boot anyway at 2:03. Lewis. And tackled at the 40-yard line. Gary Stills, another special team stop. A feature game. Unbeaten Colts in Mile High Stadium. Some of you will see the Jets in Cleveland or Pittsburgh at Oakland. Deuce McAllister and the Saints with the ball. Final 2 minutes of this one. Long throw downfield and another deflection, and one of the few times it didn't flop right into the hands of a Baltimore Raven, as Colston was the intended target. And there's Pruitt again.
Well, it's moving day for the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC North as Cincinnati loses to Atlanta. Pittsburgh's got Oakland later. Cleveland entertains the Jets, but it's a big win for Baltimore with Cincinnati losing the way they did at home to the Falcons.
And they meet next week in Baltimore, and with Atlanta winning and New Orleans losing, they'll be tied for first place in the NFC South. Flag down as that pass intended for McAllister. And of course, stay with us for the second game with a doubleheader. JB and all the gang in New York will bring you up to date on the late finals of the first games and standings and best plays and that sort of thing. So lots of football left for you on our CBS doubleheader day.
This is just hors d'oeuvres. You still got
illegal hands to the face.
Indy and Denver.
Defense number 21. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And in the NFC South, the Saints loss and the Falcons win ties them for the lead. I understand the Giants have defeated Tampa.
Well, this loss should do nothing to dampen Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints' fire and spirit. If anything else, it'll just justify everything Sean Payton's been telling them all this week and every week before that.
Breeze, lots of time. Now he throws, has an open man, Joe Horn. And he's out of bounds at the 30, make it the 27-yard line.
It's pretty simple philosophy that he's got. If you have turnovers and you have penalties and combine those, you will not win.
Well, the 2 touchdowns by interceptions by the Ravens really key to the difference in the game. The Saints have moved the ball effectively. That doesn't hearten the thoughts of those men. With Bush injured, McAllister, the tailback, and Deuce McAllister for about 4. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Tony Petitti. Today's game produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Suzanne Smith. Senior producer CBS Sports NFL Today, Eric Mann. Director Bob Matina is on second down and 6. Breeze chased, and down he goes with a sack. And that's a Dallas Thomas, as he had 5 sacks coming in today, and there's another. Coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. Associate directors of our game here in New Orleans, Corey Fishman and John Paquette. Broadcast associates are Julie Landa and Neil Patel. Technical director Doug Fleetum. Technical director is Chris Romanek. Audio supervisor Dave Grunvig. Breeze underneath, incomplete to Colston. And I want to thank Butch Baird, Mike Burton, John Gwynn as well.
Now, this has been more of a case of Baltimore just taking advantage of any time New Orleans made the ball available, whether it was Reggie Bush laying it on the ground, Reggie Bush throwing up an interception, Drew Brees reacting to the pressure and giving up the picks. It's been a very opportunistic and aggressive D.
4th and 10 for Brees. He goes to the end zone. Touchdown to Colston. The kid makes another tough catch. How can you not like this young man, and how could he be around till the 252nd pick of the draft, right at the end of the 7th round? His second touchdown today. He has 6 touchdowns in the first 7 games. No wonder they could get rid of Dante Stallworth.
There was a very light sprinkling of draft picks in this year's draft in the 1st and 2nd round. I believe 3 wide receivers were taken early, but that's no excuse for a guy like Colston to be available where he is in the 7th round. And Mickey Loomis, the general manager here in New Orleans, kind of smiles when you kind of congratulate him. He says, you know, we passed up on him 6 times too.
Ourselves. Going for 2 with McAllister in the backfield, and Brees throws into the corner of the end zone, complete. And it's to Billy Miller, just activated this last week with the injury to Ernie Conwell. And it's just a chance to practice that 2-pointer in a game you're going to lose anyway, 35-22.
Watch Colston's use of his body, unusual for a young receiver. Hey, watch him turn it at the last second, right there. Because he knows he's getting the hit from Ed Reed from the back. He turns his body, gets the ball to shield himself from that hit, and the ball from that hit.
And Ray Lewis coming in from the underside.
But also credit where credit's due. Drew Brees held that ball to the very last second and took a heck of a shot to get that ball off.
So many, did he get another big hit from Dallas Thomas. And Colston with big numbers, 6 catches, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns. Look at the top picks at wide receiver in the draft. Holmes, Jackson, Moss, and Jennings. And those are the numbers starting today. Colston, you can add another 163 yards to his yardage total and 2 more touchdowns.
6 touchdowns now.
To go with 477 yards.
Somewhere around the country are some fantasy football owners that took him on kind of a lark sometime late in the draft or picked him up as a free agent, and boy, they're getting some pretty good returns on that.
Isn't that interesting? Hofstra is the site where the New York Jets have their training camp, and of course they found Wayne Corbett as a free agent, a great player for Hofstra. And here's another, Marcus Colston. I would suggest maybe not a bad idea to kind of search around the grounds there for players on that Hofstra team.
It's kind of like keeping your head down, look around for money when you walk the streets. Right in front of them.
Get one of those coin detectors. Well, that onside kick unsuccessful as Derek Mason on the Good Hands team's able to cover it easily. Well, there were some good things for the home folks to talk about over a beignet tonight. And for the Baltimore Ravens, they're very much in command, and it's the defense, and that's going to be a consistent melody all season long when you talk about the Baltimore Ravens. It may well prove to be, again, the best defense in the NFL. I know that's people up in Chicago and other places would argue, including Denver, but they are a mighty force. Brees, 383 yards today, second most in Saints history, and yet goes down in defeat. Aaron Brooks once threw for 441.
Well, the big picture, Dick, you look at this Baltimore team. Good luck if you're on their schedule and they don't cooperate and give you the ball, because you're not going to score a lot of points on them. And if this offense gets it going on like they had it going on today, they will beat most everybody.
Yeah, 22 points against the Ravens might be a